take your word that we have hope, 'cause you know that's where all I can seem to reassure you doubtful that I know where my heart's at. Stuck in place from looking back. Let's burn that bridge, forget the past. Lay me down with poison tacks and keep me falling. Tell me your story, one that keeps me falling asleep in your room. Maybe our hearts will stop mourning, 'cause tragedy's boring now that I've found you. Don't take back a single word you said, it wasn't all for nothing. Can't get my mind to stop running. The past has a hold on me. Don't take back a single word you said, it wasn't all for nothing. Tonight will show a different view. Tell me a story, one where we're both wandering all over this room. Maybe I'll say what you're needing. You won't take back your pleading, and the sun will shine through. Tell me your story, one that keeps me falling asleep in your room. Maybe our hearts will stop mourning, 'cause tragedy's boring now that I've found you.
Good evening, guys. Good evening. Welcome to another installment of Touchline Talk. We had Rival Rundown yesterday, new series. This is not a new series. We are going to be focusing today on Manchester City. Rival Rundown, funnily enough, was about City's rivals. Touchline Talk is always about, general football, but mainly with a focus on Manchester City. The thumbnail speaks volumes in terms of what's going to be the main topic. Discussing Oscar Bobb, the injury. I want to open this by discussing, other players which had similar-ish injuries. How did they bounce back? Were they able to bounce back? What is the extent of Bobb's injury, etc.? What is the implication for City short-term, i.e. in the transfer markets, and also long-term, when Bobb comes back, that sort of thing. Basically, how does this injury impact City on the pitch and off the pitch? That's what I want to discuss today, as well as just a general conversation with you guys. So make sure you are getting your thoughts through in the chat, because I'd say this is a Q&A vibe show. So I do want it to be a back and forth conversational situation. Hello, Musty. That is Cap. I had a shower 3 weeks ago, so we'll be having less of that. Manchester's Blue, says Tom. Absolutely. Hello, Staffy. Good to see you, my man. And Breeze. Adem, sorry. Mars. Finished watching the FIFA Corruption Netflix documentary. Yeah, they can hold that, honestly. That will be a falsehood, I'm sure. And this is a very good question. And we will be discussing the Eze quandary, in the context of the transfer market. How do City respond? Do City need to respond to this new information? Obviously, Oscar Bobb, poor baby Bobb, breaking his leg, genuinely distraught with that news, which that's a pretty poor word to use given the context, yesterday. Hello, Eden. How are you, mate? Hello, Daniel. How are you? Says Fuscan. Absolutely, guys. Yeah, if you guys got any thoughts, as I say, as we go through, we'll have that chat. So first and foremost, I asked ChatGPT to tell me about players who broke their leg early in their career. Let's talk about that first of all. Let's just discuss Oscar Bobb first of all, and then we'll discuss, how does City respond. So I asked ChatGPT 4.0, provide me with a list of footballers who at some point early in their career broke their leg. I was provided with 18 examples, mainly from England, it seems, but a few not. Before we start this, I guess Oscar Bobb's not watching, but obviously wishing Oscar Bobb a speedy recovery. This is I'm still convinced this is going to be his year in terms of, he now establishes himself as, I'm not good for an academy player, I'm a good player for Manchester City, like Rico Lewis did last season. In my eyes, it wasn't just a case of I'm good for an academy player. No, I am good as a footballer. So yes, obviously wishing Oscar Bobb a speedy recovery. I'm still convinced that he will have a very good season when he comes back from injury, which is estimated to be in around January, isn't it? So some names which caught my eye, and I guess this is the difference in respect of players who have broken their legs. Because, for example, Luke Shaw broke his leg in 2015, and since then was never really the same. Not quite similar injuries, but I feel like, I don't claim to be a sports scientist or anything, but I imagine there are some instances where if you break your leg or you suffer a very debilitating injury in one area of your body, that could potentially lead to other indirect niggles, etc., etc. The best example I can think of, and this is where, because my main worry with the Bobb situation wasn't the short term, it wasn't, he's going to be out for 3 to 4 months. It's my main worry was, how will this impact him and his career when he comes back? Will he ever be able to trust that leg again? Will he be the same player? Because again, there are a lot of players where that wasn't the case. Diaby of Arsenal is one example. Abu Diaby, Kieran Dyer, another one, where players just couldn't get over those really terrible injuries early in their careers. Luke Shaw is still feeling the impact of that potentially. Aaron Ramsey was sidelined for however long, didn't properly find that was in 2010, didn't properly find his best form, 5 years later or so. The main example that I would like to use, however, and this also isn't an easy comparison, because these leg breaks weren't as bad as Bobb's. That's the point to make. Apparently, Oscar's is a clean break in the fibula, if I'm pronouncing that right, in one area of his leg. Apparently, it's not as bad. The main example I want to use, as I say, is Henrik Larsson. I don't know if you guys remember him. He used to play for Celtic, Barcelona, etc., etc. So he broke his leg in 1999 whilst playing for Celtic, and the 3 seasons after that, after he returned from Celtic, I think he scored more league goals than played league games, or there or thereabouts. That was when he went on a mental scoring form for Celtic. So it's not a case of you break your leg and then you can never become the player you once were. I would like to think that Bobb is going to be more on the side of a Henrik Larsson rather than Abu Diaby, and both those injuries were much worse than what Oscar's had. So look at me on first name terms. So I just wanted to preface this stream by discussing that, just because I feel like it's maybe it's alleviated my concerns anyway. Ari, the long-term impact should be okay. He should be fine. He should be once he comes back to us, everything should be all right. So that's Bobb in general. As I say, he'll be fine long term. Hello guys, if you join the stream now, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please leave a like on the video as you are entering the stream. Make sure to stick around, get your thoughts in the chat, because I will be intermittently reviewing the chat as we go. Let's now discuss, how does this impact City on and off the pitch, shall we? Because I've seen a lot of requests by City fans on Twitter, etc., that now that Bobb's been injured, City now need to react in respect of, we now need to sign another wide player. We need to sign someone who can basically replicate what Bobb was going to replicate. So let's think about that. Let's think about where was Bobb going to play this season, and then we can discuss whether that is a position which now needs to be filled. The whole of Oscar Bobb, and I don't mean whole as in the whole of him, I mean the HOLE hole that his injury has created. In my opinion, he was going to play the majority of this season on the right. He was going to get intermittent minutes as an attacking midfielder, and he was going to get a decent amount of minutes in the false nine when Haaland was unavailable. So let's break down those positions one by one. The right wing is, as I say, where the majority of his minutes were going to go. Now we have Doku, who can play there. That's where he played at Rennes, for example. We have Foden, who can play there, and if given the right parameters, can play there very well. Last season against Brighton, Foden played on the right, and he was the man of the match. And I don't think he won man of the match, but he was the best player on the pitch by a considerable margin, and he was fantastic. But Savio can also play on the right. In my opinion, he is a right winger. So that's the right wing first. And also, Bernardo Silva can play there. In terms of the false nine, Bernardo, De Bruyne, Foden, Grealish can all play at false nine. In terms of the midfield, we've got a dearth of players who can play in the midfield. So I'm of the view that it would be a mistake to sign, to react to the Bobb injury and sign an additional player on top of what we were looking at. Because let's say we bring in, I don't know, who would be a good right winger to bring in, a right-sided player. For argument's sake, Jarrod Bowen, let's say, just as an example, let's say Jarrod Bowen, we bring him in, okay, to play on the right in Bobb's absence, right? But Bobb's going to be back in 2025, like at the latest, early 2025 at the latest. Like he's only out for 3 to 4 months. So if we did that, because as I say, a lot of people have wanted that. We're signing a player to fill that hole for a few months, but then Bobb comes back, and now Bobb returns to a squad where there's another person in my place. That to me just doesn't seem like a very sensible transfer decision to stunt his development when he's coming back from an injury. I don't think that makes much sense, especially again when we've got wingers out of nowhere seemingly coming out of our arse. Savio, in my opinion, was brought in to play on the right. I don't think it's going to be a massive issue in the short term. Again, I think that all it will mean is that it will give Savio slightly less time to adapt and get used to City. I think that what we probably would have seen against Chelsea, for example, in the first game, we probably would have seen Bobb starting because he obviously started like so many preseason games out there. He obviously knows the club a lot more than Savio. He knows how to be a City player more so than Savio. So it makes sense for Bobb to start over Savio in the immediate term. But I think that just means that we'll have to accelerate Savio's integration into the side. And based on his cameo in the Community Shield, I thought it looked pretty good. He was brilliantly involved in the goal that we scored. If you notice how he took his time in terms of making sure to delay himself, waiting for Bobb to be in space and then playing the ball in. So he clearly already understands the dynamics of his teammates. I think he's probably ready to go and start him. Week in, week out, that's another question. It's not ideal, but it's not like he's some ne'er-do-well nobody. Like, he's clearly good enough to start right now, in my opinion. So short term, I don't think it makes sense to sign an additional player. What it does make sense, however, to sign a player who we should have signed, regardless of whether Bobb got injured or not. And that's something that we're going to discuss momentarily. Let me just catch up on the chat now, though. Would you take Wharton? Yeah, we'll discuss that, Maxwell. Don't you worry about that. Hello, Amar. Right, this Mubama chap, I'm pretty sure that he's just going to be, like, in our elite development squad. There is no... I can't see a world where Pep decides, oh yeah, he's going to start in the Premier League. I just can't see that world. So I really think that, and I hope that we do a false nine thing rather than a random striker whose main experience appears to be in the under-18s and in Premier League 2. So I don't think that's the thing. And also we're going to apparently, according to Romano, loan him out next year anyway. It doesn't make much sense to me. Hello, Sanjeev. Hello, Sebastian. How are you doing? Because about the charges, there's no new information, so no more so than I have been. David Brooke later in his career wasn't the same. True, but again, I was example more so early in their career. Thank you, Ari the thumbnail. It's good. It's a new style. We might do it for these ones instead. He broke his leg turning in training, Mr. Happy. Lewis, I'm doing great, thank you, matey. How are you? Yeah, hopefully he's got a good mentality, Staffy. We shall see. My ideal front three against Chelsea. Well, I think the only front three is Doku, Hall, and Savio, because Grealish is out, and Bobb's out, and so obviously Haaland plays. So, and Foden's not yet back, is he? I don't think. So I'd be surprised if he just started immediately. So Bernardo's probably going to play in the middle. So I think the only option is Doku, Hall, and Savio, which is a front three I didn't think I'd see. I don't even know if I thought I'd see it that much this season. Never mind the first game. Never mind at Stamford Bridge. So we shall see how that goes. It's incredibly attacking. It'll either be brilliant and really exciting or horrible. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on the potential signing of West Ham striker. Yeah, Will. As I am hoping, it's just like a future signing rather than a player who we expect to rely on this season. It's time to sign Messi. This must be brilliant. I think we should bring in Echeverri in from loan and get Bruno G. Good summer. There was talk of accelerating his joining of City. One thing that is blending to the eyes for Savio is how one-footed he is. Yes, indeed. If you guys saw my video, you will know that. But yeah, he is heavily left-footed to a ridiculous degree, to be honest. Although he has got an assist with his right foot, to be fair, but yeah. The English chaps are back, but will they be ready to start? I guess that's the question. Foden's back, but again, is Foden ready to start? That would be my thing. Obviously, not getting any minutes in the Community Shield, obviously. Is he ready to start at Stamford Bridge? I don't know if that would be the risk. Bernardo might play on the right side, maybe, although that would be very upsetting. Probably Doku, Hull, and Bernardo, De Bruyne, Kova, Rodri for Chelsea, says Samir. Maybe. I would like to see Savio start because I do really, really like him. Over 100 people watching, only 27 likes, guys. Do you want me to succeed in my life? It's free. Leave a like on the video. Do it now. Let's get to 100 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get it up. Get it up here. Come on. Fibula DM, that's the one. It's a clean break as well. Yeah, exactly. And not getting any minutes in the Community Shield might be an R, especially just coming back from an injury as well. You think McAtee will start? That'll be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So yes, let's now discuss. I said keep your comments coming through because I will revisit them and intermittently go back to you guys as we go through the show. So in sum, City should not be signing this mystery right winger or whoever. Again, I think that's a mistake. Bobb will be back in a few months. That seems incredibly reactionary and unnecessary, and it would just stunt the development of Bobb. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Another thing which I don't think makes a lot of sense. Did you like that segue, guys? That wasn't even planned. Eze. I'm Eze like a Sunday morning. If that's not a chant by Palace, maybe it shouldn't be because it's awful, but Eze sounds like easy, so... I don't know how valid these links are. I keep seeing suggestions and have throughout the entire summer that City are interested in signing Eze from Palace. And I don't get it. I've tried to understand it since day one. Those rumours have seemed to have accelerated given Bobb's injury, and I still don't get it. Eze is a fantastic footballer, of course he is. I'm not saying he's not good enough to play for City. What I am saying, however, is he is not the player we need in any way, shape or form. Eze is a player who likes to occupy similar areas to, let's say, Jack Grealish, for example. He is a player who can play primarily in those left side areas, whether it's left central midfield or sometimes left wing, more so midfield the wing, but can still do both. Again, it's placed out. Again, is very similar to Grealish, maybe a bit more aggressive. I just don't see it. If anyone here in the chat can let's when we were linked with Eze and you were excited about it, can you try? I'm willing to be convinced. Let me know what could the thought process be, because I don't quite understand that as a concept. And again, I don't understand why City are so interested in it as a concept. No slight on the player, wonderful footballer. In another time with another squad, if we didn't have, if Grealish wasn't at the club, for example, if we didn't have, I don't know, if like Bernardo left in the summer, like if in those very specific circumstances, if we needed someone like him, Musty says fun. Very fun player. I think he's really good to watch. I love watching him, not in a weird way, in a analytical way, Your Honor, but it just doesn't make sense in terms of what he is as a player. We don't need another Grealish-like player at all in any way. We didn't need that before the Bobb injury. We don't need it after the Bobb injury. Nothing has changed, in my opinion, because we've discussed the fact that there are players in the squad who can play in every position Bobb could play in. So I don't really get why we are linked to him. And that seems to have been the one where, again, if you listen to a Tone, shout out Tone, he says how we've not made a formal offer for someone like Bruno Guimaraes, but we're apparently really interested in Eze. It just seems so bizarre to me. I'd love to know what the thought process is. I'm obviously missing something. And this is a great point by Nerd, because yes, this is the thing. We have so many ball carriers in the team. We've got Grealish and Savio and Doku and Foden. I know De Bruyne can pass, but even De Bruyne's a brilliant carrier. And Kovacic and Nunes and Gvardiol. All these players, and John Stones, all of these players are wonderful ball carriers. If we think about our midfielders, for example, let's say excluding the defending zones, we're looking at, Foden, De Bruyne, Kovacic, Nunes, Bobb, etc., etc. I don't think I've missed anyone there. Maybe I have. Again, outside of De Bruyne, the main instinct of all of those players is to carry rather than pass. Not saying those players can't pass, because Kovacic, for example, can, when he wants to, play very nice through balls. There was a beautiful one in the Wolves game that last season away that Kovacic did to Gvardiol. It was a fantastic ball. Foden, we all know, can do that. But again, if you had to say, which key trait would you associate with this player? Is it carrying or is it passing? If you had to choose, we've only got one who is a passer. Everyone else of those names I've just listed then is more of a carrier. And this is why Nur is absolutely correct here. As I say, it's a lot like Grealish. Grealish isn't necessarily a pass-first player. He loves to carry the ball. He loves to get the team up the pitch by carrying it like that. And ball carrying is an incredibly useful trait. Of course it is. But you need a balance, and you need both. It's not enough for De Bruyne to just be the main chap. And this is why whoever we bring in, it can't be someone in the mold of Eze. It has to be someone who is what you would associate with more of a passer, someone more capable of doing through balls, that sort of thing. Doesn't mean they can't carry, doesn't mean we don't want them to be good at carrying. Of course we do. But again, it's about trying to strike a balance in the midfield. And if you've got everyone in the midfield, and the majority thinking, I want to carry this ball, we need our attackers to be fed. Haaland needs to be fed. Savio needs to be fed. And that's when the pass-first players come into play. And with only De Bruyne, in my opinion, that's not really enough. So that is a thing. That is a thing. Let me just catch up on the chat here, and then we'll talk about what we'll talk about then. We will talk about the issues that City have had last season, the issues City are on course to have, and what is the solution therein. Pep says, trust me, is that McAtee? Yes, I agree with that. He's again, from the very little I've seen of McAtee, is a lovely player in those zones. McAtee is another example, a small space player. In addition to wanting more passes and carries, we also need large, I don't know what the correct term is for this, like long space, large space. You know what I mean? Not small spaces, not the pockets. The opposite of that. I don't know what the correct term for that would be. I'm going to say long space, or big space, because I quite like those terms. So there we go. If I say long pace, I probably should say long space, shouldn't I? So there we go. Rico may start in midfield. He could potentially be the auxiliary right back, couldn't he? He could be that. Cancelo, De Jong swap. That would never happen, Daniel, I'm afraid. Totally agreed, and right wing is not needed. We have 4 players. Yeah, 100% Eden. We are on the same wavelength as always. Absolutely. Eze's massive, but not what we need. Again, absolutely right, Born. Lovely player, not what we need. Hello, Bevo. How are we doing, mate? We don't need him, says Jaden, but I won't complain. I'm not going to kick up a fuss and cry and throw my toys out of the pram if we sign Eze. Of course, it was like when we were linked to Musiala. I'm not going to cry and complain if we sign him because he's a fantastic player, but that's not going to change my mind in terms of saying that I don't think we need him. It's not what this team needs. It's like Kimmich. Kimmich is a great player. I'm not going to cry if we sign him. I don't want to sign him because I don't think we need him. But yeah, I'm not going to complain because he is, at the end of the day, a great player. A great player, of course. Nerlin, absolutely. João Gomes from Wolves can play a 6'8". Good player, says Ibrahim. Maybe got the wrong Wolves player. L4, maybe in preparation for the Arsenal rivalry. Sorry, I don't know what that's in reference to. Apologies. Hello, Doctor Abhishek, how are we? What's your top 3 City ball carriers? What, in the team right now? Well, Doku is objectively the best ball carrier in the team. I think that statistically, Grealish is the second best. And then from there, I don't know the numbers well enough. My instinct would be that Foden's carries are probably more impactful than anyone else. So I'd probably go for those 3, to be fair. Ian says, the sort of attacking profile we should sign is a Mateus Cunha / João Pedro type. So he's right-footed and plays striker and left wing. City people asking for a DM. Sure, mate. Or you can just get my number from LLB. That's fine. If you want to have a chat about something, matey. Hello, football always. It's been ages. How you doing, mate? Maybe you meant to say large zone of influence, Twitter tactico slang. I'm going to say long space because I like the term. I don't care if it's wrong. I'm going to start saying long space because, you know, long pace is a thing. You guys will know that from watching my Savio video, yeah? So you better have watched it. So it's a great video. I think it's gone like 60,000 views, which is unreal. I'm going to say long space. There we go. Hello, Bree. How you doing, matey? What is he as a Nunes role in the team this year? Great question, Bree. And I genuinely do not know. I'm just going to pivot for a second, and then we'll get back to the Bob situation after I've caught up on the chats. Don't go anywhere, chaps. And chapettes. Bree being one of those chapettes. Yeah, Nunes, I actually do not know. It sounds so mean, but Nunes being in the squad just causes so many issues from like a practical perspective. Like, if he wasn't here, there is no doubt in my mind the City would have already signed Bruno Guimaraes, for example. There is no doubt in my mind that would have already happened. I just don't know what he does from a squad perspective. I know what he does on the pitch, but just from a sort of dynamics situation, I still can't really wrap my head around why we signed Kovacic and Nunes in the same transfer window, because they're very similar in terms of what they offer in respect of, like, they are ball carriers and they like to dribble with the ball. Kovacic a more controlled version, Nunes a bit more dynamic and tenacious maybe. So in terms of his role, I don't think that he's better than, I know Bobb's injured now, sadly. I don't think he's better than Bobb in the City shirt. He's not been better. He's not been anywhere near as good as Rico Lewis in the City shirt. I don't think that he has got any. I don't think there's a space for him in the midfield as I see it now. Outside of we change the system dramatically, he's obviously never going to start over Rodri. He's in. If we look at the the more advanced positions, I'd rather Foden play there. I'd rather De Bruyne play there. I'd rather Rico Lewis play there. I'd rather Oscar Bobb play there. I'd rather Bernardo Silva play there. Would I even like to see McAtee play there over Nunes? I don't know. So then I think you're looking at auxiliary positions. Could he be converted to a wide player? Could he be converted to a fullback who goes to the wings? Could he be converted into a Rico Lewis player in terms of he starts at right back and goes into midfield? I don't know. I don't see his future as an out-and-out starting central player. I'd be very surprised if he was able to nail down starting central spots outside of a lot of injuries. And to be fair to him, one of those injuries has already happened in terms of Oscar Bobb's central minutes. So maybe, but I don't know. I actually do not know. Mars, these puns. Rico, our permanent right back, says Noah. I think Lewis's future is in midfield. Callum, my perfect window remains the same as we will discuss. Musiala is better than Bobb and Lewis combined. We need him, but we don't, because again, we don't need that profile. I'm having Cover in my... What is that, your preferred team? Sorry, ball carriers. He's probably up there, to be fair. Tommy said Nunes doesn't want to leave. And why would you want to leave, to be fair? You are playing for Manchester City after all. Guys, we've got 150 people watching. Not 100 likes. Guys, do you like me? Like the video then. Thank you very much. But there we go. That's the thing. Right, so anyway, back to what we're discussing with the issues the City have had. I actually tweeted about this. If you've not followed my Twitter, what are you doing? It's LNobbins. If you're watching on Twitter, by the way, I can't see your comments. Apologies. I can't see your comments in the chat. If you want to get involved in the discussion, come over to the YouTube. Yeah, so I tweeted about what are the issues City are facing. We had a lot of issues last season, RE squad balance, as we all know. A lot of that, well, basically all of that stemming from the fact that we did not replace Gundogan properly. So the dynamics across the entire season were just, from a City perspective, were poor. Even towards the end of the season where it clicked and we knew what we were doing, still wasn't ideal at all. So that is a thing. We also obviously still need a Rodri cover, not backup, because if you sign a backup, you're going to be in a Calvin Phillips situation. No, we need cover for him, as we've discussed before, so we're going to play instead of, alongside, and ahead of him. So that's two issues. Alvarez's sale, in terms of, bodies, and getting those minutes. And now, the Oscar Bobb injury. A player who's going to play a lot of central minutes. The wide minutes that was going to play will now have to be taken up by a central player. In addition to Savio, it could also be Doku, to be fair, but I will expect to see now in the next 3 or 4 months either a combination of maybe Bernardo and or Foden being played out on the right, when Doku, Savio aren't there. So that means that their central minutes are now going to be taken. So that there's 4 issues there that we've been able to identify, and all 4 of those issues can be solved by signing the same player. The whole has. Do you remember on the replacing Alvarez stream? If you were here for that, guys, I used the analogy of we've got a sweater on, a jumper, whether the correct verbiage is there, lexicon apologies. We've got a jumper, yes, and a moth. Gundogan is is apparently a moth in this analogy, and Gundogan has left a hole in our jumper. Right, he's flown off to Spain. This moth, leaving a big hole in our jumper. Now, more holes haven't appeared in our jumper. The hole has gotten bigger. That's all that's happened. A stitch in time saves 9. Stitch up your jumpers before the holes get bigger. It's not a new hole. This Alvarez departure isn't a new hole. It's the hole getting bigger. The Bobb injury is not a new hole over here. It's this hole getting bigger. We can fill that hole up with the same material at the same time in one fell swoop by signing a player like Bruno Guimaraes, or just signing him. Because I would literally solve everything. Everything. Don't need to buy a new jumper. There's no option to buy a new jumper in this really weird analogy. Because you spring in Bruno Guimaraes, it replaces Gundogan. Okay, so the squad balance is there. We talked about the need for passing players. That's what Bruno Guimaraes is. Of course, he's a brilliant ball carrier, but the emphasis is on passing. He registered, I believe, the second most through balls in the Premier League last season. Go watch my Bruno Guimaraes analysis video where I analyse our top 3 transfer targets. He's more of a passing player, so perfect in respect of balance. That problem number 1 solved. Problem number 2, the Rodri cover. He can do that. He can play as a 6. He's not a 6, but he can play as one if needed. He has done for Newcastle for a long time now. He is an 8-6 hybrid player. So he can cover Rodri. Points number 2. Points number 3. We need to replace some of those midfield minutes that Alvarez's departure has caused. He's a midfielder. And likewise with Oscar Bobb. You need a few more midfield minutes. Bruno Guimaraes is the guy. The same solution is there. And it's so frustrating because we can all see it. If I can see it and you guys can all see it, there is no world in which Pep Guardiola, who's far smarter than all of us, can see it. And indeed, everyone in charge of City's transfer operations, they will be able to see it. They must know that is the solution, not a solution, it is the solution, or rather the best solution, in my opinion, in terms of what is available on the markets right now. It makes too much sense, almost. There is no reason I can think of why you wouldn't just do it. Now, maybe we are working behind the scenes, and we have been very tight-lipped across this transfer window. So maybe we are operating in the shadows, and maybe that will happen. But it is sort of getting, the season is starting tomorrow. The Premier League season is starting tomorrow. The season's already started. The Premier League season is starting tomorrow, and we are playing on Sunday. It's only, when does the window end? Is it in 15 days, 16 days or something? I think it's at the end of August, is it? And there's just nothing. No word on anything, RE signings. And again, maybe that's just because we are operating in shadows. But I am getting to the point where I'm getting worried in terms of I don't think we're going to sign him. I was very optimistic at the start of the window. I'd love to be proven wrong. I really, really hope that the Alvarez departure and the Bobb injury have just lit the fire under our arses. And just made us go, right, well, we knew we needed to do it, and now we desperately need to do it. It just simply must happen. And that is the solution to the Oscar Bobb dilemma. That is the impact. Hopefully that's the only positive impact out of this situation, is that it kicks City up their ass. If they weren't already doing it, again, all I can do is judge off what I can see with my eyes, looking from the outside looking in. Surely it gives them a kick up the arse to go, right, well, we were umming and ahhing about, undercutting Newcastle by a few £1 or whatever. Now it just needs to happen now. And fine, we'll pay a premium for the fact that it solves. And we've got another issue, but we'll pay a premium to solve this issue as well. I would love that to be the mentality. I've no idea if that's what's going to happen, but I just don't know what the other solution is, to be honest. I'll try to have a think now. If you guys have a think as well in the chat, maybe we can discuss that. If we don't sign Bruno Guimaraes, will we go for another similar player? Or is there this weird idea that no, we can get by without that? I think that technically City could not sign anyone now, and we could still win the title. It's not beyond. I think everyone is predicting us to win. Not everyone. The majority of like predictions that I see placing City as favourites. I think City will no doubt be the bookies' favourites. So of course, so even if City don't sign anyone, there will still be a good chance that City will win the league. But I tell you what could basically confirm that we do it unofficially is getting this player over the line. Again, I just don't see how we don't win the league if we sign him, because the midfield becomes, in my opinion, borderline perfect. Can you imagine like a box midfield of Bruno, Rodri, Foden, De Bruyne, or a more conservative midfield of Rodri, Stones, Bruno, Foden, or Rodri, Stones, Bruno, De Bruyne? It's like, it's just perfect, and it's just really annoying. I'm very greedy. I just want it to happen now. And I'm just, as I said, I'm just getting more and more nervous that it might not happen. But that is the Bobb dilemma, and that is actually that's just how we relatively simply solve that solution. Let me just catch up on the chat now. Let's make sure that we are leaving a like on the video, guys. There's still over 150 people watching. I've still not got my target. Let's get to 100 likes, guys. Come on, if you haven't left a like already, it's really easy. You just click the like button, guys. You do not make me do the Judge Mo thing and show you how to leave a like on the video. I'll bloody do it. I will bloody do it. There's pen. I'll tell you what. Yeah, to be fair, on Nunes, yeah, I loved that penalty from Nunes, and then the reaction from Pep, where he's like he couldn't believe what he saw. He was like rethinking some stuff. He was like, maybe he should be the penalty taker. Nurse says, my big question is, if everyone's fit and we do get Bruno, how do you start both Kevin Foden unless Foden is a false winger? But you kind of, but you could do a false winger thing. Like it's not an issue to do a false winger situation. Because even though I don't like the idea of having defenders as our wide players, if having a defender as a wide player, i.e. specifically in this case Gvardiol, means that we can have a midfield of Foden, De Bruyne, Bruno, Rodri, then I think that is a small price to pay. You can still have a proper winger out there. And again, if we're talking about the fullbacks who performed the best last season, obviously if it's Walker, it's an issue. But Gvardiol was not too much of an issue. It was only when, obviously, he's not a great crosser, so you would have to circumvent that. But you could easily do that, and just by focusing your attacking play through your wide play down the right and your midfield up more so on the left. So it could definitely happen. It's a thing. Does the signing of Bridgie only solve our problems with even Alvarez? So, as I say, Ibrahim, I think it solves basically everything, in my opinion. Smart player too. He is a very smart player. He's great. He's great. I've fallen in love with this man. I've seen a few reports saying we might bring in Etch very early. Is there any truth? If so, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, he's literally a child, isn't he? So I'd be shocked if we did bring him in and if he was like accelerated into the, to become a starter. I think that'd be very surprising. I don't think it's necessary, to be honest. Bruno's a bit too adventurous, says Olu, given his position and our start. Misplaced through pass will cause us problems. But you could, by that same token, couldn't you also say that De Bruyne is a bit too adventurous? I would contend that Bruno's smart and knows when and when not to release the ball. And I think he's smart enough to acknowledge that City play a very different way to Newcastle, and he doesn't necessarily have to do as much of that work. So I think he could do it, definitely. It doesn't make sense Newcastle selling their best player, says GG. Absolutely, but at the end of the day, we won't know unless we put in a formal offer, and will we? Why not test that to resolve? So it's all well and good saying, well, Newcastle won't sell. Well, let's find out. Let's find out, because in theory, every club has a price for a player. Why not test the waters? It's the fact that we haven't even made a formal approach. That's the thing. And then after we can complain about, oh, Newcastle, they're asking for £300 million, and obviously we're not going to pay that, whatever. But why not test the waters in the first instance? See where you can get. We'll probably underbid for Bruno and end up signing the second choice, says Kenny. I don't even know who the second choice is then, Kenny. To be honest. Must have what? Cole Palmer do a pen on Sunday. You've heard it here first, Ibrahim. I hope you're wrong, mate, but we shall see. I don't think the charges are affecting the deals, to be honest. I don't know where the validity is in that. We signed a lot of players last season, including Gvardiol for a near world record amount for a defender. We are looking to extend Ruben Diaz today. I saw we're looking to extend, Ederson. We're going to looking to give another big deal to. In fact, we did recently give an extension to Phil Foden, didn't we? Making one of the highest paid players in the league. We are redeveloping the Etihad, pumping in hundreds of millions of pounds into that project. I don't personally think that that's a thing, to be honest, in my view. Wharton is the interesting thing. If we believe the In the Nose, what they have said is that City we're very interested in Wharton, but they wanted him to have another season with Palace, and then act the season after. So according to the In the Nose, from their perspective, going for Wharton now would be a season too early. I would say that I would love Wharton. I would just be a little bit concerned, Ari, because he's obviously very, very young and needs to do a lot of development. I don't know if a move to City, I'm speaking from an England fan now, I guess, I don't know if his move to City would be the best for his career right now. I think that might be a mistake, to be honest. I'd love him. I think he would fit perfectly. Would he get it? Would he be able to be shoved straight in? Would it hinder his development? I don't know, but I know City are fans of him. That is all I do know. I know I do, yeah. Should we just sign Gundo, honestly? That's a tough ask, Nobbins, but I don't think Arsenal or Liverpool have done enough to equal up to City. And yeah, if you watched yesterday's rival rundown stream where we discussed Arsenal and Liverpool, and this is what I mean, it's not impossible for City to win the league without signing this player. I'm bordering on a coin flip, because a lot of people have asked me who do I think is going to win the title. I am bordering on a coin flip of a 50-50 decision between Arsenal and City. If Arsenal sign an elite player, like a star, whether it's a star forward or a star midfielder, a marquee signing, then that will push them over the edge for me. As it stands, they haven't, even if they bring in Moreno, I don't think he is that player. I know they brought in Calafiori, allegedly a very good defender, but there is still a missing piece for me for Arsenal. I think their situation's a bit harder to lock down in terms of a particular player, maybe. Although, to be fair, Bruno would work for them as well. So maybe not. Jason says, one of the key requirements for Pep midfielders is long shot ability. Given we just lost one in Alvarez, who is a long-range threat. Hence, Lewis will not be midfield at any time soon. We've got a lot of we've got a lot of threats from outside the box. So, Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best distance shooters in Premier League history. Phil Foden scored 6 Premier League goals from outside the box last season. Gvardiol has been doing that. Rodri, as we all know. I don't know enough about Savio's long shot abilities. I know he has scored a couple for Girona. That could be a thing as well. Bruno Guimaraes has got a decent long shot on him as well, in fairness. So yeah. Hello, Manza. Bruno's not going to happen. I can't believe he thinks to invest 100 million plus huge salary over a Rodri replacement for the hearing. But again, it's not a Rodri replacement. I think Bruno would start in the majority of games for City. It's not a case of him just being a Rodri backup or whatever. He would start, definitely. Thinking about it, Daniel would have solved a lot of these problems as well. But we need the player to be able to play instead of Rodri. That's the main one. I think it is worth it. I think it's worth it to basically guarantee the league title. I think that the Premier League title is worth £100 million. That's my hot take. I don't get the whole Eze thing either, especially with Echeverri coming in. He's really good. I'm sure he is very good, but I don't get the Eze situation at all. Maybe Bruno told City he doesn't want to leave. Well, again, that's not what the In the Nose have said. We might not want to place any credence on what they say, but that's all I can really go off. They say that he would be open to the idea. So that to me suggests that it could become a thing. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what we do. Could got Bruno release at the release clause? Yeah, that just seems no-brainer to me. Thoughts in midfield of Rico, Kova, and De Bruyne against Chelsea. It's probably what is going to have to be. Maybe Bernardo in there as well. But yeah, that's probably about right because we are limited, obviously, early in the season. With Bruno, we see the Champions League win. Maybe Omar, but it's a little bit tricky to predict knockout competition. That's why I'd only be comfortable predicting the league. Bruno's a fan of Gundo. There you go. Come over here then. Come over here. Say we sign Bruno. What's your lineup if everyone's fit? Well, I wouldn't have like an out-and-out starting 11 because obviously it can change easily, can't it? But I think that a really strong team could definitely involve that midfield of Rodri, Bruno, Foden, De Bruyne. That'd be really nice. If you need to drop one of... The question is, do you drop a left winger or do you drop one of Foden and De Bruyne? But the good news is that we can have setups for both of them. So if you were doing the false winger situation, which is absolutely fine because Gvardiol can do that, you'd have a back three of, like a Kanji, Diaz, Ake. The two ahead of them would be Rodri, Bruno, Guimaraes. Think about how devastating that defensive five is, by the way. Ahead of them, Foden, De Bruyne, and the front three, Gvardiol, Haaland, and then right winger, whether that's Savio, Bobb, whoever. Alternatively, you could drop one of Foden or De Bruyne. Let's say it's a game against home where you don't need to play De Bruyne, so let's drop De Bruyne for this example. Be the same back. No, it wouldn't be the same defense because this is where John Stones comes into play. Akanji, Diaz, one of Ake or Gvardiol. Ahead of them, Stones, Rodri. Ahead of them, Bruno Guimaraes, Foden / De Bruyne, and then the front three of Haaland, and then left winger, right winger. Basically, the treble winning year, but Bruno is Gundogan. So the good thing about Bruno, like Gundogan, is that he can play ahead, but he can also play behind. That's the beauty of this player. He can play anywhere. He's an all-phase midfielder. First, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. He can do it all. Tar says, I think our defense is weak, especially during counterattacks. Well, we are always going to be... Cornelius! Oh my goodness. It's all kicking off here. Thank you so much. The Haaland printer is confused because something has happened. There we go. It has printed now. Now, I haven't quite sorted out the printer for new members, so I apologize, Cornelius, because this is an error message. I haven't quite done it. I'm speaking with the programmer. I haven't figured it out yet for new members. That's something we need to do. It works for people renewing and gifting, but not for new members. But thank you so much. You're the first member to activate the Haaland printer. Welcome to the Ultras Club, and you joined as a Fanatic Ultra, which isn't even the base one, so thank you so much for your generous support. That's incredibly generous. Love that from you, mate. Thank you so much. Genuinely means the world. Hopefully Haaland will be able to print out a proper one next time. Thoughts on the Haaland printer, by the way, guys? Isn't it sick? If you were here for yesterday's stream, we got some super chats. It prints out super chats. And it does this properly, by the way. Look how sick these are. And I go to the camera and I show them off. Look at how sick. Tell me how sick the Haaland printer is, guys. Reassure me that it's class. Anyway, so City's always going to be weak to counterattacks, to be honest. I guess the best way that you could circumvent that is by having as strong a rest defense as you can. Rest defense being how you set up defensively when you do not have the ball. I'd say who would be a great rest defense option. Bruno Guimaraes. It's Bruno Guimaraes. One of the best dual winners in the Premier League last season. The best player in respect of covering distance last season. Perfect partner to Rodri. The reason why we got counted on so much last season, because Rodri's struggles to defend those large spaces in transition. That's what Bruno's bread and butter is. I guess another reason why it'll be a perfect signing. Perfect partnership. Rodri, Bruno Guimaraes. This is why, for me, guys, I totally disagree when people say 100 million is too much. For what is, in my opinion, the perfect midfield partnership, no. I totally disagree. Totally disagree. I think that is well worth value for money. You can't just look at it as the player on his own. I think you've also got to look at it as the impact on the squad as a whole. So yeah, that's a thing. Again, Cornelia, shout out and thank you so much for activating the Haaland printer. We have got over 100 likes, guys, which is lovely. Let's get to 125 now, lads. Thank you very, very, very much. War printer. Oi, yeah, this printer's sick. Respect Haaland's printing face. Brilliant happening. We should go for Palacios or Samir. Anyone of that profile and quality. Anyone. Just give me anyone. Anyone. If I see Kyle, Andrew Walker in that starting lineup, we will be having issues. There's no way that... That can't be a thing, guys. It can't be a thing. I can't have another season of that. No. It's just not... There is no world in which that will happen. There's no world in which it'll happen. It can't happen. It must not happen. He's just bad going forwards. He's now suspect defensively at times. It's just makes no sense. The only way it made sense last season was because him playing on the right facilitated Foden coming into the middle from the right wing. But Gvardio's far better doing that. So just do that instead. Ditch that, to be honest. It's just not a thing. City should just go for that. It's worth it, I agree. Bruno, perfect sample. Why when Newcastle, even at 100 mil, let him go now? I don't know, Bree, but why not test the waters and go for it? You get me? British Converter, Staffy, I know, mate. It's just so frustrating if we don't get it done or get a similar deal done. Time for Walker to retire. Can't stand his stinkers. He's still a very good squad player, but he must not be getting as many minutes this season as he did last season. If he is our starting right back when there's a Kanji right there, then I'll be very disappointed, to be honest with you. Exactly, Tom, exactly. Well, as I say, it works on Super Chats, it will work on members, and the idea is also for the members' profile picture to turn up as well. So that'll be sick, won't it? You don't get that literally anywhere. You will literally not find that anywhere else on YouTube. I could guarantee you that, yeah? I guarantee you that. How do I know that? Because I paid for it to be made. This is a new thing, yes? We are innovating on the LNobbins YouTube channel. No one else has got a printer printing out YouTube memberships, and ain't no one got a Haaland printer printing out YouTube memberships and Super Chats. I'll tell you that right now, lads. I'll tell you that right now. Your thoughts, McAtee and O'Reilly, ready? Pep said yes, but I'm not sure they can impact like Bob did. O'Reilly, in my opinion, is not ready to start in the Premier League. Definitely not. I would love to see him get some minutes in the Cups. McAtee, I think, could start the odd game. But I would be staggered if these guys got like more than if like McAtee got more than 5 starts in the league and O'Reilly got more than 5 starts in the league. Be staggered if that happened. Water. Hey, I'd love Water and Craig. The combined fee for Nunes, Phillips, and Kojic could have bought Bruno G, and we'd be in a better position with just him. Chris, I think that is a very good point. I feel we should get a DM to protect Rodri once he's out of energy. Bruno Guimaraes is the name, says Ardem. I will absolutely force. Although I do have, in fact, if I just show you something, do I want to show that? Yeah, I can show that. Why not? 1 second, guys. I will return. Just let me do that. There we go. Right, we're now going to go to this camera over here. It's going to be a fun time. Hello. Come on a journey with me. Come on a journey with me, guys. So, this is a question about the book. Can you find me with my chair? Follow me. Yeah. Hello, Haaland. How you doing, mate? Can you see if I go down here? I've got books here. There you go. There are the same author. What's he called? I can have a look, can't I? Marty Perra now? Is that how you say it? I've got Pep Confident. I got these for like Christmas ages ago. I've still not read them. Shame on me, I know. I've got the Pep Confidential, the Bayern one, and Pep Guardiola, The Evolution. I believe the new one's called The Revolution, isn't it? So yeah, that's the thing. It's haunting. Hello. It's great. It's great. I'll have you know. There we go. There we have it. Again, you don't get that anywhere else on YouTube. Oh, Omar. Well, to be fair, Omar, I thought that players were going to go. Bernardo Silva seemed nailed on to be sold, for example, and that would have meant that we'd have needed to sign 2 players, to be honest. That was the idea. But players stayed, and that didn't end up happening. With Kyle on his last legs and Trent his last year contract-wise, could you see him coming to City next year? Trent, no way. No. If he did leave Liverpool, it's not going to be there's no way it will be to another Premier League club. It will be to someone like Real Madrid, surely. Totally agree, Ziad. I heard from an in the note Martin Luther King. Everyone said he's interested in joining City. Okay, interesting. Yeah, respect the Haaland printer, guys. Get Pep's new book. Is that the Pep Revolution? Chelsea. Why are we saying that? It is a nice setup, isn't it, Cornelius? Hello, Blake. Hey, Nobbins, looks like Huey has quit the Big Six, so they need a new City rep. I think it'd be great on there. Thank you very much, Blake. But I saw that, I think I saw because Saeed reposted it. Big Steve is going to be the City rep there. So no room for Nobbins. I'd love to go on the show, but yes, that's going to be the thing there. What's that? David also in the Premier League sees 115 court case. Many of the alleged offences are repeats. Oh, yeah, and we've discussed this. Basically, it's like the same charges, copy and pasted, depending on the accounting year. We've gone into that. Thank you, US Gaming. Glad you like the thumbnail. Can you imagine, Jason? Can you imagine? Is there anything else, guys, that we would like to discuss today? Keep your comments coming in, and I can react to them as we go. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Thank you for your support as always. Again, shout out to Cornelius for becoming the latest member of the Ultras Club. Thank you so much, man. TJ asks or says, why don't we get a backup striker in the ilk of Hosselu or Chupa Moting? I just think that that's not really necessary or needed when you've got players who can play false nine, and that's the thing. We're not talking about this chap, Musty. He's surely just going to be going into the EDS, Mabama, however you pronounce it. There's no way he's going to be starting Premier League games, surely. Surely that is a thing. I'd be staggered if that is what transpired, but surely that can't actually be the reality. Well, Nico Williams, of course he was cooking. Of course he was cooking. He's Nico Williams. I've said Nico Williams was the truth last season, before the Euros, by the way. He is an absolute baller. That's my boy. I love him. Took liberties on there last night predicting Chelsea to beat us on the opening day, says Blake. Absolute rotters. Again, if I was there, I'd be defending us, of course. You think we could go for an undefeated season? Nah, Omar. Nah. Not a thing. Also, I don't really like the idea of trying to set out on an undefeated league season, because I think that fosters a mentality of not wanting to lose rather than aiming for the win. And I think the mentality should always be win first rather than don't lose. I don't like the idea of that. What are your thoughts on the Champions League system? Oh, the league system, I don't like it, to be honest. I prefer what it was before. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but it just seems to be more pointless games, but we'll find out, won't we? I'm willing to be proven wrong. Yeah, again, never seen him play, never heard of him. I imagine he's going to go into the elite development squad rather than the first team, especially if we're saying that next season we're just going to send him out on loan. That's the thing. Walker should not be our main right back. No, TJ, it should be a Kanji. Do you think we can still sign Bruno G? Is it too late? We can always test the waters, Sar. That's the thing. That's all I want to see. So we talked about this a lot, B. You might want to go back, but basically, we don't need to sign a Bobb replacement. We need to sign the player we all know we need. I bet all my life savings Raz scores against on Sunday. Yeah, 2-2, Sterling and Palmer getting the goals. Yeah, classic. Sends Nunes plus money for Bruin cheap. Maybe add a cheeky Cancelo in there too. But that would probably that'd be worse for Newcastle, wouldn't it? Because they'd have to like pay their wages, so they'd probably be paying more money. So I doubt it. What a chance of signing Eze? Hopefully 0, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make much sense to me. I hope you're right, sir. I hope you're right. With no one looking to come in for Cancelo and him being in training, do you think there's any chance on earth he comes back? No. Cancelo's future at this club is done. That is not a thing. He's done. His relationship with Pep has died. Nor is he what we need anyway. So that is a thing. Western Unreal against us. It's very frustrating, isn't it? It's very, very annoying. Hopefully, we'll even start. I don't even know what Chelsea's team will be on Sunday. I'd expect Neto would start out wide. It'll be interesting to see whether Maresca plays Palmer on the right or will he just start him centrally. That will be interesting. Because as I understand it, Maresca plays basically how City play in terms of formation 3-2-2-3. Or how City have played in the past, rather. Will it be Palmer straight from the off on the right? Will he do a false winger thing? Will Palmer just be straight off in the centre? It'll be very interesting. In which case, the front three might be Palmer, striker, and then like Neto? Maybe? I don't know. Ancelotti or Pep? Pep. Easy mode. Definitely not Eze. I do like Nico, but because no one's left, I only wanted Nico Williams because I was under the assumption that Bernardo Silva was leaving. Therefore, I thought we needed like another body there. Now that he's not, it doesn't make sense to sign either of them. When do you think we start seeing some news regarding track? I don't know, sir. Don't know, mate. Why do you want Kimmich? Basically because he's got the same weaknesses as Rodri, and I want someone to cover for Rodri's weaknesses, not exacerbate them. What other players could be signed? We've talked before about Palacios could be the one. Maybe. Sterling has almost become underrated. Yeah, there was a period like 6 or so years ago where Sterling was putting up like Messi numbers in terms of his goal contributions, for like goals and assists. He was unbelievable from sort of like 2017 through to like 2020, I think. 2021, I think that was the first season, I think, where he sort of, it wasn't bad, but he sort of struggled a little bit, unless I'm getting my seasons wrong. Or was that the season after, maybe? Was he still class that year? I don't know. But seriously, there was like a period of like 3 years where he was just one of the best wingers in the world. It was ridiculous. And then his finishing got worse. And I think there was like I haven't read the new book, but I saw a quote from there was like a bust up between him and Pep. And then maybe from there, that's where it deteriorated. It hasn't quite worked out from at Chelsea. Start of last season he was brilliant for Chelsea, start of the season. Or was it the season before? I'm getting my years mixed up, I can't remember. It was one of them. He was like Chelsea's best player for like the first third of the season, then he got injured, and then that was sort of the end of that, which is a massive shame for him. What's your theory, Liam Byrne? Tell me. We should win on, we should be, I don't care if it's at Chelsea, we should be beating them because it's a new manager where they have struggled in pre-season and they are trying to learn a new system, etc. We should be beating them, to be honest. We should be able to take advantage of them not quite being up to scratch, or up to speed, rather. basically how Palmer adapts to the superstar trim / defensive being set up to stop him. And also here today, it'll be interesting to see because he's going to be given far less freedom as well, I think is fair to say. I wonder whether this season, I'd be very surprised if he got the same numbers from open play as he did last season, just because I feel like Maresca might prioritize more so, or less so like an individual and more so like a team dynamic, I'm not sure. And more like the system comes first sort of thing, but we shall see. We shall see what we see. My theory is Salah is going to win the Ballon d'Or for next season. Oh my gosh, Liam. So Liverpool are going to win the league, are they? Or the Champions League? They've got to win one of them for that to happen at least. Well, they've got to win the Champions League realistically. DN's the most net, of course. Yeah, we need that player. I believe that was the 17, 18, 18, 19. But also 1920, he was brilliant, Jeremy. Even 1920, he was unbelievable. I know he didn't win the league that year, but he was fantastic then as well. So it was like a 3-year period where he was just unplayable, and unstoppable, and on fire. Again, putting out like Messi numbers in around that time. Ridiculous from Raheem. I love Sterling. I've still got a massive soft spot for him. What's there about the Mbamba guy? I don't know if there is a story, to be honest, mate. I think he's just going to go into our EDS team. And I think that's where that story will end. I can't see it being anything else, to be honest with you. I can't see it being anything else. It would be odd, in my opinion, if it was anything else. Lads, we've been live for nearly an hour 15. Is there anything else that we would like to discuss today whilst we are all together? Do let me know. Once again, shout out to Cornelius for becoming a member and getting a printout and for supporting the channel. Sane or Sterling, who do I like more? Sterling, of course. Of course. Sane was only here for 3 years, was it? He was only here for 3 years because he missed his fourth due to basically injury. First season was still fine, but Sane had 2 unbelievable seasons. He was only here for 3. So yeah, definitely Raheem. Definitely Raheem the Dream. My vision is Salah is going to explode like 17, 18. Crazy. We shall see if that happens. Okay, chill. We don't. Osman. No. Chill. No. Alvarez replacement sign again. B, as I discussed on the stream a few days ago. I don't think we need a signing to replace Alvarez directly because we have Bobb and we have Bernardo and we have Grealish, Foden, De Bruyne who can play in that false 9, and we have midfielders who can play midfield. So I don't think that we need to replace him. We do need that midfielder to eat up those midfield minutes, and again, we all know who that is. We all know who that is. It's the thing to do. So we did try Doku on the right. There was a game. I can't remember the game. It was at home though, because I remember watching it. I remember Doku coming on the right, but then after 10 minutes, he went over to the left. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, it hasn't quite clicked for Doku on the right at City. And that surprises me because I thought he was more so of a right wing. He certainly was at Rennes. I'd expect him to still get a decent amount of right wing minutes. Maybe his future as a City player is a left-sided player, though. I think on the right, his game is simplified. He can just go to the byline and cross it. On the left, he's got to do a little bit more. Hopefully, was it Fulham? Thank you, Musty. Hopefully, now his teammates have caught up to speed with how he plays. And I think Doku's going to have a good season. That's a great situation if true, Toby. Ruben Diaz contract and being promised captain's armband. He's clearly captain material. He's the company regen. He's so good. I do like Postecoglou, but I'll need a bit more of a sample size. GG. Yeah, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Here today, such a good player. Because we don't need another top striker. We've got Hall and Osimhen would never play, and that would just be like a waste of funds and wages. Shut up, Liam. Thoughts on De Bruyne becoming more of a 6 in final third possession? Yes, this is something we discussed before, Jeremy, him playing slightly deeper outside the block. Yeah, I totally agree. We've discussed many times how Scholes developed into a deeper player and used his range of passing to thrive. Similar with Pirlo, he can definitely do that. Absolutely. Savio, absolutely, yeah, he's got to be the main option at right wing. If we can't get Bruno, then I would love Wharton, but how likely that is, I'm not sure. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. The next stream is going to be tomorrow. It's actually going to be on Twitch. So make sure you're following my Twitch if you aren't already doing so. It's just LNobbins on Twitch. We do football stuff and also gaming stuff over there. So if you like me, you'll like Twitch. So click that link, go and follow. If you don't have an account, it's free to make one. It's just like it's just streams. It's just like YouTube, but for streams and that sort of thing. So do make sure to go follow me. As I say, we are streaming tomorrow evening. B asks, could De Bruyne play the Gundo role? I just don't know whether he can physically do it. That's my only query with that. He could definitely have done it a few years ago. And in fact, he did do it. When he's more of a box-to-box player. It's why it annoys me when people go, oh, he's not a midfielder. He's a second striker, and you can't say he's a midfielder. Shut up. Shut up, yes. He's a midfielder. Pipe down. Twats. Not you guys, those idiots who say that. When we signed Bruno G yet, he doesn't want to come. You don't know that, no, Manza. You don't know that. The fee's too high. I don't agree. 3 of the team doesn't need him. Hello? Hello? You okay? That last one, that got more, in my opinion, incorrect as I went through. What's going on? Anyway, that's the stream, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me again. Once again, shout out to Cornelius Random for becoming a member of the Ultras Club. You can do so by clicking the join button or clicking the pinned comment. But as I say, I tell you what is free. Going to the Twitch, following the Twitch, which is LNobbins, if you want more content from me in your life. Until then, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you all next time. Have a lovely evening. And I am out of here. Bye-bye.